ਸਤਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦਿ ਜਪ ਆਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਇਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦਿ ਜਪ ਆਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਇਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦਿ ਜਪ ਆਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਇਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦਿ ਜਪ ਆਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਇਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦਿ ਜਪ ਆਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦਿ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸੱਚ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਦੁਸ਼ਟ ਹਰ ਮਾਰਿਆ ਪ੍ਰਹਿਲਾਦ ਤਰਾਇਆ ਅਹੰਕਾਰੀਆ ਨਿੰਦਕਾਂ ਪਿੱਠ ਦੇ ਨਾਮ ਦੇਉ ਮੁਖ ਲਾਇਆ ਜਨ ਨਾਨਕ ਐਸਾ ਹਰ ਸੇਵਿਆ ਅੰਤ ਲੈ ਛਡਾਇਆ ਡੰਡੌਤ ਬੰਧਨ ਅਨਕ ਬਾਰ ਸਰਬ ਕਲਾ ਸਮਰੱਥ ਡੋਲਣ ਤੇ ਰਾਖੋ ਪ੍ਰਭੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇ ਕਰ ਹੱਥ ਤੇਰੇ ਜੋਰ ਮੈਂ ਗੂੰਗਾ ਕਹਤਾ ਹੂੰ ਤੇਰਾ ਸਦਕਾ ਤੇਰੀ ਸ਼ਰਨ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਸੁਲਤਾਨ ਪੁੱਛੈ ਸੁਣ ਬੇਨਾਮਾ ਦੇਖੋ ਰਾਮ ਤੁਮਾਰੇ ਕੰਮ ਸੁਲਤਾਨ ਪੁੱਛੈ ਸੁਣ ਬੇਨਾਮਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਧੰਨ ਧੰਨ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਪਤਿਤ ਪਾਵਨ ਭਗਤ ਵਛਲ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਦੇ ਖਜ਼ਾਨੇ ਜੋਤ ਰੂਪ ਧੰਨ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਵਡਭਾਗੀ ਹੋ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਮਾਂ ਕੱਢ ਕਰਕੇ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਪਰਸੇ ਹਨ। ਭਾਈ ਹਰਜੀਤ ਸਿੰਘ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਕੱਲ ਰੋਜ਼ ਤੋਂ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਖੰਡ ਪਾਠ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੁਚੇ ਹੋਏ ਹਨ। ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਖੰਡ ਪਾਠ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਭੋਗ ਪੈਣੇ ਹਨ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਓਟ ਆਸਰਾ ਲਿਆ ਹੈ ਜੋ ਆਪਦੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਭਜੰਗਣ ਦਾ ਜਨਮ ਦਿਨ ਮਨਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਨ ਤੇ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਕਰਕੇ ਮਨਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਨ। ਹੁਣ ਕੁਝ ਕੁ ਸਮੇਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਜੋ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਸਿੰਘਾਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਹੋਈ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਕੁਝ ਕੁ ਸਮੇਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਥਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਹਾਜ਼ਰੀ ਭਰਨੀ ਹੈ। ਆਓ ਮਨਚਿਤ ਬਿਰਤੀਆਂ ਇਕਾਗਰ ਕਰੋ ਤੇ ਜੋ ਇਹ ਭਗਤ ਨਾਮਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਹੈ ਇਸ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਦੇ ਅਰਥ ਸਰਵਣ ਕਰੀਏ ਜੀ।
ਸਤਨਾਮ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਸੁਲਤਾਨ ਪੁੱਛੈ ਸੁਣ ਬੇਨਾਮਾ
ਧੰਨ ਧੰਨ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ has blessed us all to be gathered in their presence this evening. We have been blessed doing the sangat of Sahib Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji as they are teaching us through their Sri Akhand Path Sahib as Turki Bani Ayat and Sagli Chint Mitai is being read from Ik Oankar to 18 hai 10-20. And in this evening Diwan we were lucky enough to be present when Sri Rahara Sahib Ji da Path was done, and then we heard a Shabad from the family, and then Bhai Harpal Singh Ji shared some panktiyan, and just before me Bhai Tarjinder Singh has shared his vichar on the coming of Dhan Sahib Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji, whose Gurpurab we are going to be celebrating on Wednesday. But before that Gurpurab, tomorrow, the 22nd of November this year, the Panth will be celebrating the coming of Bhagat Nam Dev Ji. Bhagat Nam Dev Ji's Janam, their birthday, if you will, as this family is celebrating the birthday of their daughter. But Bhagat Nam Dev Ji's birthday, if you will, or their coming, happens to be and falls tomorrow. So we are going to share the teachings of Bhagat Nam Dev Ji and share Gurbani from Bhagat Nam Dev Ji this evening. Let us concentrate and focus in terms of what they're saying. But first, before we start the Arth of the Shabad, Bhagat Nam Dev Ji was the Bhagat who was the Jat of a tailor. That's the Jat as Guru Granth Sahib Ji explained it. So they were a tailor in their time. And a tailor was seen as a low caste Jat. And so whenever they would pray and focus on the Lord, the Brahmins who would see themselves as a higher caste, they would kick them out sometimes of the mandars, the temples where this worship would go on. Because in those days, as we've heard from Bhai Tarjinder Singh when they were describing the times pre-Dhan Sahib Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji, those who were true Bhagats, they weren't allowed to practice their faith in coming out of this 84 lakh June and becoming one with Vaheguru. And those of us who have been know the Sakhi from Gurbani, where Bhagat Nam Dev Sahib Ji went to the Mandir, the Shiv Mandir in Maharashtra, which is the south of India, in the area of Pandharpur. And Bhagat Nam Dev Ji started to worship. But when the Brahmins came to know this, they kicked Bhagat Nam Dev Ji out, saying that a lowly person cannot partake in worship. These were the practices of the religions of the time before the coming of Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji. Now Akal Purkh Vaheguru may have sent down many messengers, prophets, saints, angels, whichever way we want to describe them. But the message when it came to the people of the world, the Bhagats of the world, the people who wanted to break free, the people who wanted to become one with the Vaheguru, the message was being diluted. And so some people were pushed away. And in those days, specifically in Bhagat Ji's times, those of a lower caste were not allowed to partake in worship. Dhan Sahib Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji's Gursikhi is equal to everybody. Everybody has the opportunity to become one with the Lord. Yes, we have some rules and some disciplines where only certain people can do certain sevama, but in terms of becoming one with the Lord and breaking free from the 84 lakh June, everybody has an equal opportunity. Everybody, whether you're a man, you're a woman, you come from a high background, a low background, whether you're young or old, everybody has an equal opportunity of becoming one with Vaheguru. And Bhagat Nam Dev Ji, as we know, sat at the back of the mandir. And then that mandir turned and faced Bhagat Nam Dev Ji and gave it spit. Ahankariyan Nindaka Pit de. The mandir turned, and the back of the mandir then was facing these ahankari, these egotistical Brahmins, Pandits. Pit deti, Akal Purkh Vaheguru Ji ne, they gave their back to them and they faced Nam Deo Mukhalaya, they faced and turned towards Bhagat Nam Dev Ji. Now many people question these happenings. How can a mandir that was built thousands of years previously, how can that turn from its foundations? But if we even research, if you go there now, and many of us are blessed to have seen that mandir, not to do worship in a mandir as the Khalsa should only worship Akal Purkh Vaheguru through the Shabad, as we've just heard, Sabad Guru Sortatum Chela. But if you go to see that happening, you will see that that mandir's face faces west. And actually all mandirs in the old days would always be built facing the east, because they would always be built facing the rising of the sun. but that mandir actually faces the opposite side, the side the sun sets. Originally, it was built facing the sunrise, but when it turned its back, it's obviously turned its back on the way it was originally built, and it now faces the side where the sun sets. If you look at the entrance, the Darshani Duri, as we call the entrances to religious places, the entrance is now on the back of side of the mandir, whereas originally it was facing the entrance into the mandir. So there are nishaniya there which show that the mandir has turned. Bhagat Namdev Ji was a Bhagat who became one with the Lord, as we will learn through this Shabad. The Bhagats, there are 15 Bhagats, and their Bani is contained inside Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Now many people from different backgrounds or from the backgrounds of these Bhagats have said this Bani is not for the Gursikhs. It shouldn't be in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji because these Bhagats were not Sikhs, they came before the Gurus. But actually the Bani contained in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji from these Bhagats will not be found anywhere else. You may fabricate it, but you cannot actually find this Bani anywhere else in the times these Bhagats actually came to this world. Because when Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji was speaking and Gurbani and Bhai Gurdas Sahib Ji was scribing, when Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji was prepared the first time, Bhai Gurdas Sahib Ji asked Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji a question and questioned them, how can you be bringing this Bhagat Bani? You haven't got the Pothiyan, you haven't got their teachings, their scriptures. How do you know, where is this Bani coming from? And Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji told Bhai Gurdas Sahib Ji the day after to come a little bit earlier in the tent where Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji was being prepared, the place of Ramsar Sahib, Gurdwara Ramsar Sahib in Amritsar, which is walking distance, 5-minute walking distance from Sri Harmandir Sahib. And when Bhai Gurdas Sahib Ji came to that place in the morning, he saw that the Shromani Bhagat, known as Bhagat Kabir Sahib Ji, they came out of the Srir of Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji. They stood with their hands clasped together, bowing to Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji, and they started reciting their Bani. When they finished, they went back within the Srir of Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji, the physical body as it was then. And then Bhagat Farid Ji came out next, and one by one, all 15 Bhagats came out and gave their darshan to Bhai Gurdas Sahib Ji, showing that they are one and they are the same as Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji. In other words, they are one and they are same. They are one with Waheguru, the Almighty Lord. They have broken their coming and going from the 84 lakh June. And Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji at that point gave them hukam to recite new Bani. So even though their poetry and their work is respected from the times they actually lived on the world, but their Bani, the Turki Bani, only came at that point, and it was new Bani that they recited, and that new Bani was obviously new because it was Turki Bani, and that Turki Bani was given then, and that was the Bani that was darj in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. So the Bani of the Bhagats will only be found in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. You may find scholars who have written on old pieces of paper, try to make it look old and try to prove that this Bani was existent before, but no, this Bani is only contained in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and that's why you cannot necessarily separate it and make separate Granths of this Bani. Guruji showed that everybody is equal in their way, in their path to become one with Waheguru. Guruji showed that everybody gets an opportunity, good or bad, old or young, male or female, even papi or pavitra, a pure person, even they get opportunities to reach God. No one is judged while they are living. Their karam and the actions that they do decide their fate, and we all have the opportunity to become one with Waheguru. At this time, Bhagat Namadev Ji is in the town of Pandharpur, which again is in Maharashtra, where this mandir is. And in their time, as they did their bhakti, their deep meditation, in English words if you will, on Waheguru, there was a time when they were in deep meditation. And when they were in deep meditation, a Bibi named Padmavati. Now Padmavati was the wife of another Bhagat in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, Bhagat Jayadev Ji. Bhagat Jayadev Ji came from the Brahman caste, the Brahman Jat, and he was first very egotistical, but then he was blessed and he became a Bhagat and became one with Waheguru when he gave up his hankar and his egotism. Now, Guru Sahib Ji has also given us these Bhagats, showing us that anybody who follows these paths of these Bhagats, in other words, if anybody follows and looks at their time on this earth, anybody can be saved. Anybody can become one with Vaheguru. Har Harjan Dui Ek Hai, Beb Bichar Kash Nahi. In other words, every Gursikh can become of the level of Guruji. That's why Guruji Ape Gur Chela. They're the Guru and they became the Chela of the Guru Khalsa, because the Guru Khalsa became up to their level. They showed that. So Bhagat Jayav Dev Ji, before they became famous as a Bhagat, had passed away. And their funeral procession was going by. Bhagat Namdev Ji was in deep meditation, sat at the side of a road, let's say, or a pathway. And as this funeral procession was passing by, Padmavati, the wife of Bhagat Jayadev Ji, was dressed smartly, beautifully, because in those days, another practice that was changed by our gurus, a system that was finished by our gurus, that any bibis whose husband would pass away, the bibi would partake in a ceremony of sati where they would sacrifice themselves on a funeral pyre of their husband. And so she was dressed, ready to sacrifice herself. As she walked by, Bhagat Namadev Sahib Ji opened their eyes from their meditation, hearing this procession. But when he saw her beautifully dressed, she was beautifully dressed, ready to give herself onto the funeral pyre, Bhagat Namadev Sahib Ji looked up and Sote said, in other words, naturally spoke that you are Suhagavati and you remain Suhagavati. That means that you remain in seva of your husband. She stopped and she said, Bhagat Ji, because she wanted to take this procession doing the darshan of Bhagat Namadev Ji, who was already becoming famous for being a spiritual person. She said that my husband has actually passed away, but since your bhajan has said that I remain Sohagan, I remain in the seva of my living husband, then you must bring my husband back to life because he has already passed away. And as we know from Gurbani tells us, Ik Saad Bhajan Atalada, that a bhajan, a saad, a saintly person does, it will always become true, it never is false. Bhagat Namadev Ji's bhajan made Bhagat Jayadev Ji come back to life. Now we may question that, how can anybody bring anybody back to life when somebody has died? Now we know Satgur Mera Mar Jeevale. We know our Guru can bring anybody back to life, as they proved on many instances, and they proved especially when they took the heads of the Panj Pyare and they brought them back, making them Surjit, and they became the Guru Khalsa Panj Pyare. But even Sri Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji Sahibzada Baba Atal Rai brought back his friend from death. So people who are saintly can do this, can bring you back to life, and at the same time, if they can bring you back to life from their bhajan, from their niga, they can put you to death as well. They have that shakti, they have that power of the Almighty Lord. They have that kala. So Bhagat Jayadev Ji came back to life, and then Bhagat Jayadev Ji did Pari Bhakti. They focused on deep meditation, and then they became a Bhagat themselves, whose Bani is also in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. But Bhagat Namadev Ji became even more famous because India was ruled by the Mughals at that time, and they became even more famous because they had brought somebody back to life. At the same time, linking that Sakhi to this Shabad, in this area of Pandarpur, the king of that area was called Salem Shah. And Salem Shah used to have his kingdom, and in his kingdom he'd have mullahs and qadis, ministers and Islamic priests, advisors. He'd have his people, he'd have his servants, he'd have his langaris, in other words, those who would cook his food. And as part of that kitchen, he would not only have animals that would be sacrificed so they could have feasts, but he also had cows that would be milked, and those cows would be milked, and those cows that were milked, that would give the milk to the kingdom and to the king. When an animal is about to die in those days, and probably this practice happens now, especially for those Mughals, what those Islamists would do, they would say, read their kalam, and when they know that an animal is bamar, is ill, or is about to die, they would read their columns and do halal of the animal, so then it could be used as part of their food. So rather than the animal just to die naturally, then the animal's meat would go to waste because they wouldn't be allowed to eat it. When they realized an animal is about to die, what they would do, they would recite their kalam and kill the animal so they can have, it becomes halal for them, and then they can eat it. So one of these cows in this kingdom had become ill. And the Langris decided and took the advice of the Qadis and Mullahs, and they called them down and they said, this cow is about to die. The Qadis decided to read those kalam and to do halal of this cow, so it could be used for the feast rather than giving milk. At the same time, one of these Qadis or Mullahs, one of these advisors had a thought, because they knew Bhagat Nam Devji was quite famous as a Bhagat, but they were a Bhagat that were not a Muslim. And so a lot of Sangat had joined with Bhagat Nam Devji and took the teachings from Bhagat Nam Devji. So they decided to make a complaint to the king, Salim Shah, and said that there's this Bhagat that is taking a lot of the Sangat away. We are not able to convert them into Islam. We are not able to bring them into our deen. Why don't we get them? They are famous for bringing a person back to life, a Brahman back to life, obviously Bhagat Jayadevji. They are famous for that. Why don't we challenge them to bring this cow back to life? If this cow is brought back to life, then you will still get your milk. We won't have to get more cows. This was one of your best cows, they told the king. And if they don't bring the cow back to life, you challenge them that we'll forcibly convert them to Islam. The king, Salim Shah, called Bhagat Nam Devji. He was arrested, and they gave Bhagat Nam Devji 3 options. You either bring the cow back to life, you convert to Islam, or we will kill you on the spot. We will give you a fatwa, and then you will be killed. You have 8 qadiyan. Now 1 qadi is 24 minutes. So if you times 8 and 24, you're going to get just over 3 hours. You've got that much time to either bring the cow back to life, or you have 2 options after that. You either convert to Islam, or we'll punish you with death. And at that point, Bhagat Nam Devji, later in their time, obviously when in the presence of Sri Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji, they give this Bani in the rag of Pero, but this Bani, this Shabad describes that Sakhi, that happening. Let us focus on this Shabad and let us see what happens and how Bhagat Nam Devji was protected by Akal Purkh Vaheguru, and let's see which teaching we can take from it.
Sultan puchhe sun benama.
So the Sultan, the king, Salim Shah, sun benama. Be means hankar nal, with akkad. They shout at Bhagat Nam Devji, sun la Bhagat Nam Devji.
Dekho Ram tumhare kama.
I want to see the work of your Ram. You call yourself spiritual. You bring people back to life. मैं तेरे राम दा काम देखना चाहना. I want to see what kam what practice, your karamat, what miracle, your Ram, your Lord, your Vaheguru, your God. Let's see what they can do.
Nama Sultane Badila.
So the Sultan arrested, the king arrested Bhagat Nam Devji, Badala, Banalaya, Hath Kadiyan Latiyan. So he's chained. Bhagat Nam Devji is chained and he's being questioned.
Dekho tera har beetla.
I want to see your beetla. Now beetla is a shabad used to describe Vaheguru in the south of India. If you want to do arth of beetla, B utpati karne wala, Tha the nourisher, palana karne wala, and La leta karne wala. So the Vaheguru who gives his life, who nourishes and who takes our life and delivers us. We want to. The king is saying to Bhagat Nam Devji, I want to see your beetla. I want to see your God. I want to see what he can do. Can he save you? You've got 8 qadiyan. You've got just over 3 hours. You've got these 3 options. I want to see you perform your miracle. You are said to be famous as bringing people back to life. I want to see you perform your miracle. Let's see how Vaheguru, how your Lord can save you.
Rahao.
And this is the Rahaudi Pankti. So the key teaching of this Shabad are from these Panktiyan. And in some ways we are questioned in this earth. Now let us take other people out of it and let us just think about ourselves. So as we are learning this Sakhi and as we are learning the meanings of this Shabad, let us also question ourselves. Now usually people and society question us. But let's take it away from society this time. Let's think about our mind. Let's think ourselves questioning ourselves. Our mind can sometimes play tricks on us. Our mind is not us. Our mind is made up of three parts. Our mind is made up of our man, our mind is made up of our buddhi, and our mind is made up of our chittavani. Chittavani is like our memory. Buddhi is like our intellect. Well, it is our intellect, where our decisions are made. And our mind is when our memory and our intellect and furne that come into our things that come into our mind and play tricks and make us do things, that is what we call our man. In English, there is only one word for this, mind. But actually our mind has three functions: man, buddh, chitta. Our memory, our experiences, our intellect, and then our decision. After using our intellect, our decision maker and man then decides and gives out the command to our senses, and then we do what we have to do depending on what our mind tells us. Now our mind sometimes ties us down and says to us, why do you want to practice Gursikhi? Why do you have to keep a long beard? Why do you have to not cut your hair? Our mind sometimes is led astray by society, but at the same time it's led astray by the Panj Chor, Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Hankar. Sometimes our mind is led astray. Now there's a lot of young people here, so let us reflect in terms of young people living in this country. I know there's other Sadh Sangat as well, but maybe focusing on us specifically. Sometimes our mind wants to be Hankari, egotistical. We want to show off. We want to dress like Gursikhs and act like Gursikhs because we want to show everybody who we are. But then at the same time, we have ego, that we want to show our wealth. We want to show our knowledge. We want to show our sobha, our fame in this world. We show our ego. Our mind forces us to use our ego. Sometimes we show our anger. We show our anger because we think we're stronger than everybody. And by showing our krodha to people, we can force people to do what we want them to do. Sometimes we show our attachment. And we attach ourselves to different people to force them to do what we want. We attach ourselves to different people hoping they will do what we want them to do, not what we should be doing. Sometimes our mind ties us down with our greed because we want more money, we want more wealth. And sometimes our mind is tied down by calm lust. And we lust over things. We lust over the opposite genders. And then we become attached to them. We become attached to them and we send them messages and we talk to them. And then it develops further, and then we go astray from what our Guru's teachings are, that we should look everybody barabar to us as our sister, everybody elder as our mother, and everybody younger as our daughter, and vice versa, our father, our brother, and our son. And sometimes we go away from the teachings of our Guru, and we fall into those traps. Or we fall into the traps of fame and fortune. And our mind ties us up. And in this case, it's the King Salim Shah tying up Bhagat Namdev Ji. How is he going to be saved? But when we are tied up with our mind, how should we be saved?
Bismillah go deho jeevai.
So the king is saying, Bismillah go. Bismillah ma karke, halal karke go nu maar ditta si. I want you to bring it back to life. We have made it halal, but I want you to bring this cow back to life. That's why Guru Sahib Ji is using the word, Bhagat Namdev Ji is using the word Bismillah go. They've said that they've used the kalam, the Islamic kalams, to kill it. Bismillah kartiya, Bismillah keh ke kalama padtiya. Bring it back to life.
Na tar gardan mara uthaye.
Na tar gardan mara uthaye. Nahi ta ethe hi, aise thaan te tera gardan wad dunga. That's what the king is threatening Bhagat Namdev Ji with. You bring this cow back to life, otherwise on the spot you are stood, I'm going to cut your head off. I'm going to cut you from your gardan. And in the same way, our mind plays games with us. Because our mind says to us, if you don't follow the Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Hankar, your friends, your family, society, the people you want to achieve with, they will cut you away from the world. And what do? We don't want to be cut away from the world. We don't want to be cut away from our families and friends. We don't want to be cut away from those people we have attachment to or lust over, girls or boys. So we question ourselves. We have tied our own Atma. So Bhagat Namadev Ji is like our soul who is tied up. And this king is like our mind forcing upon us what the Panj Chor is wanting them to.
ਬਾਦਸ਼ਾਹ ਐਸੀ ਕਿਉ ਹੋਏ
Bhagat Namadev Ji cries out, Badshah, king, how can I bring this cow back to life? Aisi kyun hoye?
ਬਿਸਮਿਲ ਕੀਆ ਨ ਜੀਵੈ ਕੋਏ
How can, if something is killed, halal kita gaya, it's been killed, how can I bring that back to life? Nobody can bring anything back to life. Bhagat Namadev Ji, through the blessings of Waheguru, has already brought back Bhagat Jayadev Ji back to life. But they're showing their nimarta and saying, I can't do nothing. How can I bring this cow back to life? It's already dead.
ਮੇਰਾ ਕੀਆ ਕਛੂ ਨ ਹੋਏ
Mera kita kuch nahi hona. I won't be able to bring this cow back to life. What am I to do?
ਹਰ ਹੈਰ ਰਾਮ ਹੋਏ ਹੈ ਸੋਏ
If anything does anything in this world, it's through the blessings of Akal Purkh Waheguru. Only Waheguru can make things happen in this world. Only Ram obviously was the name used for Waheguru at that time. We call the Almighty Lord Waheguru. Waheguru Guru Mantra hai, Japa Home Khoi. That was the description Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji brought to us. So obviously I'm using the Waheguru as their name, or the name for the Lord. But in this situation, Waheguru wasn't the word used. It was Ram, or Bitala was the word that was used, as we've already heard in that alaka. But I will be using obviously Waheguru, as that's what we call God. So Bhagat Namadev Ji is saying only Waheguru makes anything happen. And we do that with ourselves. Because what do we say? If we do something wrong, we need Waheguru's blessings. Without Waheguru, we can't do nothing. We don't show our own effort. If we are doing something wrong, when we're going astray, we don't think then Waheguru can help us. We go and use our own effort, our own buddhi, our own man and chittavani, and then we do what we need to do. We make those wrong decisions and we fall astray because we say it's in God's hands. Now Bhagat Namadev Ji don't know what to do here. They're saying everything is in God's hands. What can I do?
ਬਾਦਸ਼ਾਹੋ ਚੜਿਓ ਅਹੰਕਾਰ
So the Badshah, the king Salem Shah, gets more hankar, gets more angry. And what does he do?
ਗਜ ਹਸਤੀ ਦੀਨੋ ਚਮਕਾਰ
Because Bhagat Namadev Ji is not bringing this cow back to life. The king has called upon an elephant, Gaj Hasti. He prepares the elephant and feeds the elephant sharab. And he sends that elephant to attack, and he threatens Bhagat Namadev Ji that this elephant is going to attack you. I'm going to send this elephant to attack you, and whatever it does, I won't be able to stop it. You need to bring this cow back to life. And in the same way, in our minds play game on us. And those Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Hankar is like this drunken elephant that come into our thoughts. And they say, no, I'm only going to do this for an instant. If I'm going to commit, let's say, lust or attachment, that may be only for an instant. If I want to show my Hankar, Koina, I'll show off to this person. Koina, raat nu jaake, I'm still a Gursikh. I can still follow the path of Gursikhi. What does this elephant do?
ਰੋਦਨ ਕਰੈ ਨਾਮੇ ਕੀ ਮਾਏ
When this elephant is being prepared, the mother of Bhagat Namadev Ji starts crying, Rodan kare name ki mai. The mother of Bhagat Namadev Ji starts crying. And what does she do?
ਛੋੜ ਰਾਮ ਕੀ ਨਾ ਭਜੇ ਖੁਦਾਏ
Shod Ram ki na bhaje khudai. She's saying to Bhagat Namadev Ji, "Bhi Ram japna chhad de. Forget about reciting the name of the Lord. Kyun nahi tu khudai karda?" In other words, obviously God is the same whichever religion we come from. But his mother is saying to him, forget about reciting Ram and recite khudai. In other words, give up your practice and become a Muslim. I want you. And in the same way, our mothers and friends, so in this Shabbat it was Bhagat Namadev Ji's mother, but if we think in our situation, it could be our parents, it could be our friends, it could be society, it could be Maya, the illusion, it could be our minds. They say to us, forget it, forget Gursikhi. You're only going to do this action for an instant. Sikhi baaj kamali. We make ourselves believe that there's nothing wrong in the action that we are about to commit. We say, koi na fir pashtatap kar lange. We will afterwards become better people. Let's enjoy ourselves at this moment in time. So she's crying and she's telling Bhagat Namadev Ji, leave your practice, leave your faith, join their religion. I don't want you to be killed. If you can't bring this cow to life, give up your faith, join this religion.
ਨਾ ਤੇਰਾ ਪੁੰਗੜਾ ਨਾ ਤੂੰ ਮੇਰੀ ਮਾਏ.
But Bhagat Namadev Ji is giving us a teaching in terms of what we should do and what he said to his mother. Na ho tera pungada. I'm not your son and you are not my mother. He gave up his own mother because he's standing with the truth. That is the effect. That is the limit we may have to go. Now I'm not saying to all you guys that we give up our parents. But Bhagat Namadev Ji and Gurbani is teaching us that we may have to give up everything, because the closest person to a person on this earth is their mother. No matter if you're an animal, if you're human, we all cry out for our mother first when we're in this world. You don't cry out for your fathers, we always cry out for our mother. And Gurbani is telling us that we may even have to forsake our mother if we want to tread on this path. The Gursikh Bhai Ajay Singh Ji, he was in the army of Baba Banda Singh Bahadur, and Baba Banda Singh Bahadur and all the Gursikhs were being beheaded. And even his mother came and said, this guy, this young lad, this Bhai Ajay Singh, he was only a teenager. He's not a Sikh, he's a Hindu, let him go. And Bhai Ajay Singh said, you're not even my mother, I don't even know who you are. Just like my forefathers are being sacrificed, take my head off as well. So we may have to be strong to our families, friends, society, and even our mind, that if we really want to be saved, why do we go astray? Bhagat Namadev Ji has forsaken his mother.
ਪਿੰਡ ਪੜਿਆ ਤਾਂ ਹਰ ਗੁਣ ਗਾਏ.
Even if I'm cut up in pieces, ta har gun gai, I will continue to sing the praises of the Almighty Lord. And that is the sidq, that is the strength we must have. We must create within ourselves. Bhagat Namadev Ji created that strength within themselves through their bhagati that they did. We can create that strength within ourselves through the blessings of Guru Sahib Ji, through the discipline, the rehat that they've given us, through the teachings they have given us, and through the Naam Bani that they give command for us to do. If we don't build up that strength, then we may waver at that point. And we waver probably every day, more so than yourselves. But only the blessings of Guru Sahib Ji, we can be strong, and anytime we think about wavering, we should remember Vaheguru and go stronger with our seva and simran, which will stop us from wavering. So the king sent this elephant onto Bhagat Namadev Ji, and the trunk of the elephant tried to hit and smack Bhagat Namadev Ji, but koi chot nahi lagi. Bhagat Namadev Ji is untouched and the elephant backs off. Because Bhagat Namadev Ji is Ot Asra. Their support is a Akal Purkh Vaheguru whose support we should take. The king then is saying to Bhagat Namadev Ji when they see this happening, that all these Qajis and Mullahs, they do salam, they do my namaskar, but what is happening here? In Hindu, mera malaya man. This Hindu, because he's calling Bhagat Namadev Ji a Hindu. Bhagat Namadev Ji wasn't a Hindu. Because then we might question, Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji was a Hindu. Bhagat Namadev Ji wasn't a Hindu. In their Bani themselves, they say that Hindu puja hai dehora, Musalman maseet, name soi sevya jai dehora na maseet. So they're saying that Bhagat Namadev Ji doesn't even worship, na mandir mein pujda, na main maseetan ch jana. So they're not even a Hindu, neither they're a Musliman, just like Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji said. So, but this king is describing Bhagat Namadev Ji as a Hindu. That's why this pankti is saying, but this king is saying that all these mullahs, all these qajis, they bow down to me. But Bhagat Namadev Ji, mera maan mal detta, malaya maan. In other words, he's wiped out my honor. This elephant is not even killing him. He's not even becoming scared. And when our mind plays it's work on us. We should fight back with our mind because we have the ot asra of Guru Shabad. And then we should fight back what our mind, our friends are saying. Sometimes our friends are Gursikhs as well. And they lead us astray. They lead us where we maybe shouldn't be going. We should be strong enough to stop them leading us and in fact lead them to the path of Gursikhi. Ni faida ki hoya Gursikh banan da. And maybe that's why all over the world this biadbi is happening. Maybe this biadbi is happening for us to wake up. Because maybe we, the Khalsa, the family of Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji, the children of Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji have all gone astray. We have all gone astray because we have left the teachings. Jab lag Khalsa rehne yara, tab lag tej diyo main sara, jab eh geh bipran ki reet, main na karon inki prateet. When we go to ulti reet, when we go to different practices, maybe then Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji is saying, why should I support you then? We shouldn't go and follow other practice even for an instant. We should always stay within the teachings of Guru Sahib Ji, and maybe Guru Sahib Ji is waking us up at this time. That's why the Panth is feeling, and we are under pressure at this time. Guru Sahib Ji di biadbi ho rahi hai. Maybe we need to wake up because we live in this country, and the best we can do in this country is be as best Gursikhs as we can. We should become the best Khalsa that we can. That is the only way in this country, ultimately ourselves, that we can do justice to Guru Sahib Ji's teachings.
Badshah benti suneho.
So the Sangat came and said, Badshah sadi benti suno, listen to us. They're begging now. The followers of Bhagat Nanak Dev Ji, the innocent people of the world, are trying to do a benti to this king.
Name sara par sona leho.
Say, we will give you gold. Measure the weight of Bhagat Nanak Dev Ji in gold. We'll give you that much gold. Let Bhagat Ji go.
Mal leo tau dojak parao.
But the king is saying, Mal leho dojak paro. He's saying, if I take that money in the Islamic religion, if they take money when they're about to convert somebody, and they take money for not converting anybody, dojak means hell. They believe they go to hell, and the king is saying that if I take your gold and let Bhagat Nanak Dev Ji go now when I'm about to convert him, I will be sent to hell. Look how strong he is in his religion.
Deen shod duniya ka parao.
Why should I shod my deen, my religion, and follow you, the world? Even the king is giving us a teaching. Why should we leave our deen, our faith, our path? Why should we leave our guru for the world? The king said to these followers, I'm not taking your money, I'll have to go to hell.
Pav ho bedi hath ho tar.
So Bhagat Nanak Dev Ji is chained. Obviously is chained, and they've got chains on their feet. Hath ho tal. So if you imagine those hathkadiyan are like shane, what's Bhagat Nanak Dev Ji doing?
Nama gave gun gopal.
Bhagat Nanak Dev Ji is strong. They're singing the praises and remembering the Lord. When we are pressured, we should remember the Lord and bless those around us and take them on the right path rather than them taking us on the wrong path.
Gang Jamana jo ulti bahai.
Bhagat Nanak Dev Ji is saying Gang Jamana. Even the Ganga and Jamana, those rivers, they flow towards the sunrise. And Bhagat Ji is saying those rivers can't flow backwards. And in the same way,
To nama har karta raha.
Bhagat Nanak Dev Ji is saying, just like those two rivers flow in one direction, I flow in one direction. I'm not giving up my path. I'm not giving up my path for anything. I'm staying with Akal Purkh Vaheguru jo karta hai. I'm going to follow his path.
Saat kadi jab biti suni.
So those 7 kadiyan, each kadiyan is 24 minutes. So there's 24 minutes remaining. 24 minutes left for these 8 kadiyan. When the Badshah is saying you've got 3 choices, you've got 8 kadiyan over 3 hours to bring this elephant back to life. Choose Islam or we're going to kill you on this spot. But Tripavan, the Lord of the 3 worlds, Tripavan means the 3 worlds, Matalok, Patalok, Akashlok. In other words, the master of the universe, the king, of all the universe, Vaheguru. Still no sign of Vaheguru, and Bhagat Nanak Dev Ji is praying. So then, a barge, just like a barge flaps its wings, and when a bird flaps its wings, and the 2 wings are banging each other, it's like a vajada. And this bird starts coming flying, and you can hear this sound of 2 wings flapping and making a sound of each other. Bhagat Namdev Ji experiences this.
Garud chade Gobind aela.
Now in the previous ages, it is known that Akal Purkh Vaheguru, Gobind, their form when they would come to this earth, they travelled on the king of all Panchi and the king of all birds known as Garud Panchi. Garud Panchi was like a bird from the bottom down and like a human body from body upwards. And this Garud Panchi is banging its wings, and you can, Bhagat Namdev, you can hear these wings banging like a Vajja Vajda, and Gobind, the master of the universe, is flying on this bird. Now the kings, the Kaji, the Mullah, all the Sangat there, they are not experiencing this. Bhagat Namdev Ji experiences this when Satakadiyan have taken up, when there's only about 24 minutes left until their death.
Apne Bhagat par ki pratapal.
Just like Akal Purkh Vaheguru does for any Bhagat, any Sevak, any Gursikh. When the Gursikh follows their path, then Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji is always at their side and they are always protected. Akal Purkh Vaheguru has come to protect his Bhagat Namdev Ji.
Garud chade aaye Gopal.
So they are sat on the Garud Panchi. So Gurbani Bhagat Namdev Ji describing as this. If you want to do another earth, if you say, well, the king never saw this happening, the Sangat never saw this happening, only Bhagat Namdev Ji experienced this. Maybe some TK translate this, and they translated that the Simran Gadar Mantar that Bhagat Namdev Ji had recited, the Bani, the meditation that they had done, that Akal Purkh Vaheguru gives them Pratak Darshan because of all that abhyas that they've done, and they've come to protect them. And Akal Purkh Vaheguru gives Bhagat Namdev Ji 3 options. I'll turn this Dharti upside down, so everybody on it will be turned upside down and they will fall into the oceans, and I will destroy everything. Or I'll put this Dharti, this earth, and I'll put it on top of the king's head so it will destroy him if he's trying to murder you. Or I will just bring this cow back to life. You tell me, Bhagat Namdev Ji, Dasana Karo, what do you want me to do? Bhagat Namdev Ji is thinking that what is happening here, if I tell Vaheguru to destroy everybody, there's going to be so many innocent people destroyed. Bhagat Namdev Ji is being questioned by the people because they're watching this patiya, they're watching this happening, and the people are questioning, Bhagat Namdev Ji is supposed to be a Bhagat. Who is going to save them? Maybe we're all going to have to convert to Islam after them. Everybody is worried. Bhagat Namdev Ji does benti to Akal Purkh Vaheguru and says, Sail Masail. Sail is like the rope that is tied upon the cow. Bhagat Namdev Ji, in other words, is saying, Sail Masail is mail na karo. Bhagat Namdev Ji is doing a benti pranava to Akal Purkh Vaheguru that tie that rope back onto this cow. In other words, bring it back to life. The cow had its own calf, Bachra, it's had its children, male kardo, bring this cow back to life and do male with its own family. In other words, bring this cow back to life. I don't want all these innocent people to die. So Akal Purkh Vaheguru brings this cow back to life. So it's not Bhagat Namdev Ji showing a miracle. Now we might question miracles in Gursikhi, but miracle doesn't mean nothing. The biggest miracle is us living on this earth. The biggest miracle is this creation. If Akal Purkh Vaheguru can create all this creation and we live in this world, people are born, and there's no other bigger karamat or miracle than that. So this is nothing. Bhagat Namdev Ji has been blessed by Vaheguru, and this cow is brought back to life. It's brought back to its calves. The calf is chunking the milk, and Bhagat Namdev Ji, to prove this cow is alive, has milked the cow, and the cow's milk is put into a matki, into a bowl, and presented to the king. And they put this bowl of milk in front of the Badshah and say, you wanted this cow alive? Here you go, here's the milk to prove the cow is now alive. So the Badshah, Salim Shah, becomes so embarrassed and shamed, he retreats all the way back to his castle. And while he's in the castle, he's in so much tension. So in other words, his Okhi Kadi has now come to him. He starts feeling pain inside because he realizes he's made a massive mistake trying to attack Bhagat Namdev Ji. So he gives an order to his Kajis and Mullahs and saying, go to Bhagat Namdev Ji and bring him to me. He is the only one that can save me now.
बख्शी हिंदू मैं तेरी गाय.
So he's calling Bhagat Namadev Ji the Hindu, and he said, "Hun minnu aapdi gaa bana la. Just like that gaa was dead and you brought it back to life. Minnu bhi dobare jiunda kar de. I'm in trouble now. I'm feeling pain. I'm suffering. Please forgive me. Bring me back to life."
ਨਾਮਾ ਕਹਿ ਸੁਨੋ ਬਾਦਸ਼ਾਹ.
Bhagat Namadev Ji is now giving a teaching to the king.
ਇਹ ਕਿਛ ਪਤੀਆ ਮੁਝੇ ਦਿਖਾਏ.
Eh patiya, this karamat, this miracle, this experience that you've just experienced with this cow, I didn't bring the cow back to life. I didn't do anything. Why are you coming to me for me to save you? They're showing nimarta. Going back to what our thoughts were in terms of our mind. Just like Bhagat Namadev Ji is protected by Akal Purkh Waheguru because they have done the abhyas of Gur Shabad. If we follow the teachings, listen, believe and follow all the teachings, then we will be strong enough to the person who is closest to our hearts, our mother. If we can turn our mother away when we are trying to become one with the Lord, we can turn all others away when they're trying to lead us astray from the Lord, whether it's our friends and families, whether it's our own mind that is leading us astray from the Lord. We must be like Bhagat Namadev Ji, be strong enough, then we are protected. We shouldn't say or become depressed that God didn't stop us, God didn't protect us, God didn't help me, that's why I went astray. We should be strong enough. If we're strong enough with the Shabad, then automatically, just like Bhagat Namadev Ji is protected, automatically we will be strong enough to push our mind and our senses back and say, no, I am not going to be controlled by the Panj Jor. I am going to control the Panj Jor and I'm going to continue on this path to Vaheguru, just like Bhagat Namadev Ji did. Bhagat Namadev Ji is saying, I never did this karamat. I didn't do nothing. They're showing the nimarta.
ਇਸ ਪਤੀਆ ਕਾ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰਵਾਨ.
The actual patiya, the actual teaching, if you really want to be saved, what is the teaching? What do you have to take away, King Salim Shah?
ਸਾਚ ਸੀਲ ਚਾਲੋ ਸੁਲਤਾਨ.
As you rule over this kingdom, Saj Seal, you must be fair to your kingdom. You must not oppress your kingdom. You must be fair to them. You must help the poor. You must treat everybody equally. That is the teaching for you. That is the only way this miracle will happen to you and bring you back to life.
ਨਾਮ ਦੇਵ ਸਭ ਰਹਿਆ ਸਮਾਏ.
So Namadev, Bhagat Namadev Ji is known throughout the world because of this, because of the way that this cow was brought back to life. They are famed because of it.
ਮਿਲ ਹਿੰਦੂ ਸਭ ਨਾਮੇ ਪਹਿ ਜਾਹੇ.
All these Hindus, all these followers came back to Bhagat Namadev Ji and they went and questioned and spoke to Bhagat Namadev Ji.
ਜੋ ਅਬ ਕੀ ਬਾਰ ਨਾ ਜੀਵੈ ਗਾਏ.
If that cow didn't come to life, they're speaking with Bhagat Namadev Ji now. If that cow didn't come to life in that last 24 minutes, we don't know what we would have done.
ਤਾ ਨਾਮ ਦੇਵ ਕਾ ਪਤੀਆ ਜਾਏ.
And say your fame would have finished. Because if you didn't bring that cow back, you would have been slaughtered there by the Mughal king and we would all had to convert to Islam. What would we have done? We wouldn't have been able to do nothing. And Bhagat Namadev Ji is telling them that actually it was Akal Purkh Waheguru's kirpa that we were blessed and we were protected.
ਨਾਮੇ ਕੀ ਕੀਰਤ ਰਹੀ ਸੰਸਾਰ.
In the world, we all sing the praises of Bhagat Namadev Ji, who's coming the world over. Will celebrate tomorrow. We all, in all over this world, we remember them, and we will remember them for eternity because their Bani is contained in Sahib Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, which are true before the ages. They're true at the start of the ages. They're true now, and they will be true forevermore. They're infinite. So just as Guru Granth Sahib Ji, Gurbani will be infinite, Bhagat Namadev Sahib Ji will, because their Bani is contained within Guru Granth Sahib Ji.
ਭਗਤ ਜਨਾਂ ਲੈ ਉਦਰਿਆ ਪਾਰ.
So Akal Purkh Waheguru saved the honor of the Bhagat Namadev Ji, and they saved the honor of all Bhagats. If we tread on that path like Bhagat Namadev Ji, then we will be saved as well. So even in this dark hour of our Khalsa Panth, if we are helpless to do anything, Khalsa has only one way ultimately. We went through the times of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, who brought Gur Sikhi. We went all the way up to Guru Arjan Dev Sahib Ji, who sat on a Tatti Tavi. And then the teaching changed from Sant to Sipahi. And Sri Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji wore the two swords of Miri and Piri, and Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji completed the teachings and created and brought down, not created, the Khalsa Panth was already created, they made them pargat, they brought them forth in this world. So there's only one way for the Khalsa, is to become a Sant and a Sipahi. So the two options for us here in this country, either we take those culprits and act like a Sipahi and do Soda, and there's no shame in saying that because over our history we've seen that happening. Or we become sants. In other words, not to say we become and sit on Gadiyan and we get people to bow to us. When we become saints, we follow the paths of true Bhakti and we become one with the Lord. And if we become one with the Lord in terms of a long-term vision, if we all practice Gursikhi to the best, and we become the best Khalsa we can be, and we turn away from wrongful practices, then not only will we have quantity, that quantity will all become quality. And when we have quality Khalsa, then nothing can defeat us in this world anyway, just like nothing could defeat Bhagat Namadev Ji. All the Nindaks, all the Papis, anybody oppressing us, Khed, they'll all be destroyed just like they were destroyed in front of Bhagat Namadev Ji. And right at the end, Bhagat Namadev Ji is telling us that there's, and Gurbani is telling us that there's no difference, there's no bhed between Bhagat Namadev Ji and Akal Purkh Waheguru. And if we follow that path, there'll be no difference between us and the true Guru Khalsa, and we can become one with the Lord just like Bhagat Namadev Ji did. And if we follow on that path, we'll be saved as well. And all actions, all our worries and tensions, not only our physical and worldly problems will be destroyed, our mental problems that maybe we have through Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankar, they will be destroyed, and there'll be no difference between us and the Almighty Lord, because we will have become one with the Almighty Lord. Those are the teachings. As Gursikhi came onto this earth through Sri Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji, the teachings continued. Now all the Bhagats' history, even though they are one with the Lord, the Bhagats always called out for the help of Waheguru. And there's many Sakhiyan that Waheguru came by their side and helped them and sorted their problems out. Now there's nothing wrong with that, because Waheguru will do that with us. But Gursikhi and the Khalsa are even more Shromani, if you will. Because Gurbani and Gursikhi, the Gurus taught us Pana Manana. And they showed us true Pana. So when Bhai Mani Singh Sahib Ji Shaheed and Baba Deep Singh Sahib Ji Shaheed are given their Shaheedi, if they wanted to, they had the power to destroy those Mughal emperors. But they knew there was a bigger teaching, and Unhone Pana Mannaya, they gave their Shaheediyan. Baba Deep Singh, if they can fight with their head in their hand, they can do anything themselves. If Bhai Mani Singh Ji can be cut piece by piece and continue reciting Sri Sukhmani Sahib, they can do anything they want. If the Sahibzade are being bricked alive and they give their sacrifice, they can do whatever they want. If the Wazir Khan, they can avenge themselves and they can destroy Wazir Khan themselves. But no, they brick themselves alive to make us awaken ourselves. So not only must we respect Pana and whatever's happening in this world and accept it, we must be strong enough to fight against oppression and become true saint soldiers. Becoming a soldier, we may think, is easier than becoming a saint. But a true soldier is first who becomes a saint, just like Shaheed Baba Deep Singh Sahib Ji. So what we can do is follow these teachings, just like Bhagat Namadev Sahib Ji did. And in his next Shabad, in this Gurbani, obviously we don't have time. If you want to continue with Bhagat Namadev Ji's Bani in this Rag on the Ang 1166, Bhagat Namadev Ji's next Shabad describes about the blessings of Akal Purkh Waheguru, and only through their blessings and accepting their hukam can anything be obtained. You cannot obtain it by yourself. If I've made any mistakes or offended anybody, I beg for forgiveness. Sadh Sangat Ji, bless us so we can continue sharing the teachings of Gursikhi. Ardasa Guru, that we can all become true Guru Khalsa. We can all become one with the Lord, and then we can all man that Anand, and then all our worries and tensions, whether they're physical, whether they're mental, they'll all be destroyed. Deho sajjana sishriya jo hoba sahab su mail lekha katha na shutiya khen khen pulanhar baksan har baksle nanak par utar. I want to thank again the family of Bhai Harjeet Singh Ji, who's called us today, brought us all together so we can do Sadh Sangat. They're going to be giving, Maharaj Sahib Ji is going to bless them by completing their teachings at the Bhog of the Sri Akhand Path Sahib tomorrow morning, where their seva will continue until the rest of the Sadh Sangat are going to continue this evening with more Kirtan, more Laha. But the key thing is we should all endeavour to become the best Khalsa we can, and then we'll have no problems in this world. Kirpa rakhyo, do panktiyan padh ke samapti.
Sagal kalesh nindak peha khed Name Narayan
Nahi Bhed. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.